Hey everyone, welcome to Three Guys, One Movie. I'm Angus.
Mitch.
Zach.
We all watched Shaun of the Dead. What do you guys think of this movie?
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I lumped the whole trilogy into like a spot on my top 5 for like my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, it's one of my favorite comedies. One of my favorite horror movies. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it.
Can you consider this a horror film?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a funny.
It's
film.
Horror elements are very effective too. It does take itself like seriously in that aspect.
That's true. I mean, I think it's my favorite out of the Cornetto Trilogy. It's a lot of fun, like, but it's also like a really well done movie, and like it's his first movie, which was really cool for and it just the casting was perfect. The zombies were goofy, and I liked that element of it. And it's kind of funny because it came out in a time where like it wasn't really parodying zombie films because there wasn't a lot of like it wasn't like a zombie film era like it is now.
Yeah, well, it was because 28 days later, the remake of Dawn of the Dead came out. Because like I remember,
there was a few of them. Yeah,
It wasn't like the zombie craze like when Walking Dead started.
Yeah.
Where literally everything was zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like this came out like when this came out. This is one like scary movie and stuff like that.
Yeah, parody films are huge.
Very big. And I think the remake of Dawn of the Dead had come out, and then all of a sudden this movie Shaun of the Dead comes out. And when I was younger, I thought, oh, it's just another one of those parody movies. That'll be funny. And then years later, I watch it, expecting something completely different, and when I saw it, was just like, did not expect it at all. No. So like, even though I feel like this way about all three of them in general, like on rewatch, it does like you notice a lot more things, and it does get better and better the more you rewatch it. But like my first reaction to it was kind of like, oh, holy shit, this is not what I was expecting at all.
I wasn't expecting it at all, and it was like a very happy surprise. And, like, I loved it. Like, it really hit it out of the ballpark for me. Like, I really loved it. There's a lot of really good scenes. Like, he's a really, like, all his movies are stylistic. And, like, the editing, like, style and, like, the way that sound plays.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, like, he's kind of, like, brought that era of, like, the quick, like...
Yeah, really quick cuts.
Quick cuts and stuff like that. And, like, I thought it was really cool. And I really started liking him as a director throughout this like trilogy, and he's actually become my favorite director.
Well, it's also in a time too where comedy movies were just like crapped out, and like it was so easy to make, and there was like a easy formula you could follow where like, oh, do this and get a laugh, do this and get a laugh, and blah 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 blah. And then this one, it's actually a well-made film. It's not. It's funny, of course, but I mean there's an actual like style to it.
Yeah, it's a different kind of comedy. Edgar Wright specifically is like really good at visual comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And being able to create a joke out of the edit.
But also
which
like
a lot of people can't.
Yeah,
do.
definitely.
Visual comedy doesn't rely on this like slapstick.
Yeah.
And like but there is slapstick.
I do think the visual comedy comes into play more in the other two.
Yeah, well,
in terms of how they're edited.
If you think about it, like he was really finding himself over the trilogy of
exactly,
like,
and that's why I always kind of give this one credit, even though like I like all of them. I think this is probably my least favorite, purely for the fact that I think it's not as funny to me.
Well,
I think the other two are much funnier.
I have a weird relationship with the trilogy. Shaun of the Dead is my favorite. I think, objectively speaking, the best is Hot Fuzz. I think that is like a perfect comedy movie. But I've seen The World's End the most.
Yeah. I've said that before. Yeah. Yes.
But like, I think like it's definitely like he does more with the other ones in terms of like editing and framing and stuff like that. But I think there is a lot that he does like visually in terms of like repetition and stuff like that too. Like there's like the opening scene where he goes to he's going to work and he goes to get the paper and stuff like that, and how
he stops in for a pop.
Stops to get the pop and stuff like that, and there's a homeless guy there, and there's the guy jogging,
the kid playing
soccer and stuff like that, and then the next day when the zombie apocalypse has happened, the guy who's jogging is sprinting. There's like the car, like he was about to get hit by a car, and then all of a sudden like the car's trash is like windshield's busting and stuff like that. The homeless guy's
the kid's
like
still playing ball.
And like,
he slips on the blood.
Slips on the blood.
Yeah. but doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Because he's so into the repetition that
Exactly.
he's kind of like, oh, okay. But I thought that was really, like, the first time, like, I fell in love with a movie. So, like, but yeah, you're right. The repetition part of it, like, it plays up, and as the trilogy goes on, he plays it up more and more. But this one kind of, like, did a really good job with that. And, like, you know, like, the whole point, like, go, like, pick up, blah, 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 like, go to the Winchester. And, like, that part was hilarious. And, like,
and, like, the delivery, too.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Like, that part, too, where he's like, oh, why can't we, was it, why do we have to go to Liz's place? Because we do. It's like, oh, why? Because I love her. All right, gay. And, like, even, like, the bit after when he does it the second time, and he comes back, it's like, oh, okay, we're going back here. It's like, no, that's not going to work. It's like, no, it's not the best place to have everybody. And it's like, yeah, look at the state of it.
Yeah.
It's just, like, simple stuff like that, and just the delivery is really well done.
Really made me fall in love with, like, Simon Pegg.
Oh, yeah. Like, those, both Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah, Nick Frost. And, like,
well, this movie, like, created one of those, like, great modern comedy duos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
I think they're one of the greatest.
Yeah.
Like, they have, like, because before this, they did a show with Edgar Wright as well, called Spaced.
Mm-hmm.
And you could like, from that point, like, they had just had such good chemistry that
their
it
chemistry
really
is
does
insane.
carry over to this trilogy.
Yeah, and, like, the thing is like, they've done a few movies outside of the trilogy, and it always works, but not
definitely.
as well as it does in
Yeah.
with Edgar Wright at the helm.
Oh, yeah, well, definitely, because, like, there's, like, Paul. It's a funny movie, but, like, it does not feel like one of the, like, a Cornetto Trilogy movie. It's a different kind of movie, a different kind of comedy movie.
North American. But, like, the thing was, with this trilogy and with Shaun of the Dead, is that the British humor really, like, helped to me, but it also wasn't too confusing. Because, like, some British comedies I watch, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, it's just a lot more dry.
Yeah, and,
comedy.
like, I just don't understand it. But
I
it
love
worked.
that kind of humor, though. I
It
love
worked. It wasn't, like, extremely dry. It was dry, but at the same time, it was, like, really funny, like, for me anyways. I'm just a huge zombie movie fan, too, so, like, the fact of mixing comedy and mixing zombies was awesome for me.
That's another thing, too, like, where I was kind of watching, going into it, and, like, after watching them, like, all three of them, honestly, is that, like, it gets labeled as a parody movie, but
it's not really a parody movie.
It's its own thing.
It's more homage, because, like, it's Shaun of the Dead's a zombie movie, but it's not, like, really, like, goofy, over the top, like, oh, they're referencing this and stuff like that. It's functions as a zombie movie.
Well, it's in the same way as something like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Where it double functions as a horror movie, but also a critique of horror movies, or Scream.
But
like,
the thing
it's
is,
kind of
like,
within that same
I
category.
think the only parody part of it is the name. It's parodied Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. And there's definitely jabs taken at the genre.
Yeah, but,
once
like,
in a
you're right
while.
with the whole, like, Cabin in the Woods things. It's
Yeah.
not, like, a parody of the genre. It's in the genre, but it's also satire of the genre.
But it's not, I wouldn't even necessarily call it a satire, because, like, it's genuinely, like, a well-made zombie movie.
That's
as
true.
well.
No, that's true.
And the comedy doesn't come from, like, oh, he's trying to bite me. Oh, what? And there's, like, a fart joke or whatever. It's
smart. It's smart.
I don't know. It's
Someone's
just
gonna steal that joke now. Oh, there's a zombie fart joke.
Oh, no! The zombie runs away. And it's like,
I think
there's a lot more to the comedy as well.
Like, the whole part where, like, their group is walking through the alley and they run into his buddy's group.
Yeah.
And, like, it's, like, the same characters, like as they go by, like, hi, how you doing? Like, it's hilarious. And it's funny, because, like, a lot of them are, like, some of them were famous British people.
Yep.
That,
Matt Lucas from Little Britain. One woman from Black Books. I can't remember her name.
Martin Freeman.
That
was kind of his start.
Well, The Office.
The Office was, but that was his first, like, I think, one of his first movies.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
But I thought it was really, like, something like stuff like that was hilarious.
And emotionally as well. Like, it's, like the bit with his mom.
Yeah, it was sad.
That's, like, legitimately sad.
Well, even when Nick Frost got bit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's gory, and it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
like, genuinely, like, watching, like Day of the Dead or something like that. Like,
Well, what's his face's, the roommate?
Yeah.
Gets sucked out the window.
Yeah.
And gets, like, teared into. Like, that's a real zombie film. Like, it's not like a parody, like, where it's just, like, off screen and, like, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny. It's probably, like, how would you rank this into the Cornetto
Trilogy.
I mentioned it earlier, but it's my least favorite of the three, but I really like all of them.
Yeah. Well, there's not a bad movie in the
No,
trilogy.
Not at all.
I rank it as it's my favorite movie out of the trilogy, but like Zach said, I still think Hot Fuzz is a technically better film.
I think that is a perfect comedy movie.
It's like the perfect comedy, but Shaun of the Dead will always be like my favorite of the trilogy.
Yeah, mine too.
I guess, what would you guys like rate this one out of 10 then?
Personally, I give it a 10.
10, yeah.
I can rewatch this anytime. Yeah. Every time I rewatch it, I find something new, and I don't know. I just keep laughing. I love it. I love it.
I give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
This one's an 8 for me.
That's still fair.
Like, I really like it. It never clicked for me.
Like
in
the other
the
one?
same way that a lot, like when the movie came out, I remember hearing all this hype about it and
Yeah.
hearing everyone talk about this movie being like one of the greatest comedy movies ever and all this stuff. And I saw it and I really liked it, and I still maintain that opinion where it was like, oh, I really like that. Not quite sure if it's like the perfect movie.
No,
like it never clicked for me in that way. And then when Hot Fuzz came out was when it really clicked for me, where I was like, oh shit, okay, this guy's onto something.
Yeah,
for sure, I agree. Well, that's just our take on it.
What's yours?
We'll wrap it up there. Links to Letterboxd, Twitter will be down below, and we'll catch you next time.
We'll also be finishing off the Cornetto Trilogy.
That is true.